things first, I want to thank you for coming here to our not Ventspils, Rigas TestDevLab office, and also for those people joining the stream who are watching. My name is Pēteris Nikolovskis. I've been working as a software developer for TestDevLab for about 4 years, I would say. And today, I'll kind of give like a presentation or speech about AI as a kind of like a backbone of the modern enterprises. So AI, or artificial intelligence, it's not kind of like just a trend. It's like fundamentally shaping how businesses can work, right? And like how they can impact it, work efficiently, more, I would say, work more agilely, if that's a word, right? And more precisely, like even according to like recent studies, like AI implementation like has increased workplace productivity by, well, I would say up to 40%. And I am one of those 40%. Maybe, you know, how could I say, the app called ChatGPT, right? Most likely everyone will know, right? I use it, I wouldn't say daily, but, you know, close to it. Having, for example, if I have some developing problems, right? I can just input the actual problem and it will give me a couple of solutions I could check out. Like I don't have to look for them myself. I can just easily ask it and it can give me some solutions I could try at least. So what actually is artificial intelligence? We can kind of like think of it in this way. It's a kind of like a human brain, like in a machine, right? So basically, we're trying to kind of like recreate the sense of understanding the language, right? The vision part, recognize patterns, right? But all of that in a machine, which then we can kind of like use with data or like to solve tasks. So the kind of like core functions of AI and business and kind of like its driving force, right? There are many kind of like different ways of the AI. First one I would say is data analysis, right? So AI can process vast amounts of data quickly, identifying trends and like insights from like, for example, let's take 100 sheets of Excel, right? A normal human would have to take, I don't know, hours, maybe even days to look through them, right? And maybe pinpoint, hey, this isn't quite accurate, right? But having the AI model just go over it would take, I don't know, a minute, maybe, and it went over all of the sheets. And if there's a problem, it would kind of like pop up, hey, check out this one. This might be of, let's say, a worrying item, right? Next one would be automation of repetitive tasks, like, for example, scheduling. We can have automated calls which schedule the user, the user, right, or the client. We can automate, for example, tests and so on. So basically freeing up human resources for like more strategic activities. That's like basically kind of like above HR, like, they can focus more on actually like planning things more. Next up would be predictive analysis, which is basically having a trained model with data which is from the history. For example, let's take a stock, right? So we can trade stocks, buy them, sell them, right? But if we gather the data of, let's say, a specific stock, what was its trend or price, right? We could technically try and predict what would be the future prices, but it doesn't always work, as I have tried and I have lost some money on that. So do be careful on that. And next up would be also customer service. So AI-driven chatbots, we most likely have talked to it when we're writing to tech. Hey, my internet's not working, and it gives us back a link. Hey, why don't you check us out? Check out the favorite asked questions or whatever, right? Or actual virtual assistants. These actually, I have tested them out, and they have become quite advanced in the way it kind of like makes me feel that I'm actually talking to a human, right? But it's an assistant, right? Recently, or semi-recently, OpenAI kind of allowed the usage of their own voice model, right? And I started talking to it. I asked, hey, maybe speak in Latvian, right? Started speaking Latvian. I said to him, give a more Latvian accent, like pronounce certain words like with a deeper and things like that, right? And to my surprise, it actually did the pronunciation just perfectly on that. So I would say it's become real advanced on especially like on the language and assistant part. Next up would be natural language processing. So basically allows the machine to understand, to interpret and respond to a human language. That's basically ChatGPT. So let's say I asked it, hey, what was the weather in Riga last week, right? It understands like I want the weather data, right? It kind of like interprets like weather data in Riga last week, and then it will give me back an answer. Yeah, weather in Riga last week was this and this and this, right? So it understands like the kind of context of the whole text I'm asking to it. And of course, we have computer vision, which basically allows the machine or the model to interpret kind of like visual information. Let's say we had a picture of, this whole event, right? It could kind of like answer, hey, yeah, we have a couple of tables right here. They have white cloth and we have people standing next to the table. Some people are sitting, right? It can understand and process what's inside that image, right? Or video or whatever. So some AI applications like across a couple of industries. One would be in healthcare. For example, in diagnostics. I've seen a company called AIDoc or iDoc, which is mostly used for radiologists, right? To kind of like detect tumors or growths inside the scan actual. So they have made a kind of like an algorithm which analyzes the image, right? And then it identifies the actual anomalies inside it. And if it detects something, of course, then it will, how could I say it? It will then tell it to the doctor, hey, you need to check this out. This looks really suspicious to me. Next up would be personalized medicine, which is basically a model trained on, let's say, your personal medical history, right? What pills you have taken, which doctors you have gone to, right? Maybe you have some problems, and it can theoretically also kind of give you not a treatment plan, like a plan to improve it. But with this, as in all things medical, right? Just don't do it by yourself. Always go to the doctor, right? And tell them what they're doing, right? What you want to do, and trust them more than actual AI. It's the same as, if I recall, the site is WebMD, where you input your symptoms and it's always really bad, but actuality it's just a cold. And of course, we have the kind of like administrative workflow automation, which can take care of like schedulings, billings, and like patient data management and things like that. So if we have the virtual assistant on a call, right, they want to schedule an appointment, right, we can kind of like automate that to put them actually in the system. Next up would be in the finance section. There's a couple here as well. One would be called fraud detection. So basically we can kind of like input data and train it on to detect fraudulent kind of like activities or transactions in real time, right? So, it fell, no? What? Oh, just, yeah. So kind of like to detect the like unusual patterns which might happen in trading, like, hey, this kind of like action seems interesting, right? Or because we cannot follow all the transactions which happen in real time because there's hundreds and thousands of them happening like each second. Next one would be, as I mentioned previously with my downfall, algorithmic trading, which is basically taking the past market data and trying to analyze what was the stock then, what happened, and a company which actually kind of like provides these services called Betterment. And of course, another point, the customer service automation, the chatbots, but that kind of like applies to, I would say, every industry, like everyone can need it and be like it can be useful for you because it like provides 24/7 kind of like support assistance. When you make a call, right, it will answer you. It won't like wait for the next working day. Next up would be kind of like the retail industry. We can have a model trained for inventory management. In a way, it can kind of like forecast the demand or and adjust your inventory levels, right? So it can see, hey, okay, Christmas is coming up. We have this stock low. We have this stock high. We need to kind of like increase this, put this leftover summer clothing right on sale to get rid of them. So we can kind of like average things out and like we're not in overstock, right, of that particular product or in actual stockouts. Like we don't have any products. Like it can try and guide us in the direction to have everything at every time at normal amounts, and not to have an item, more of an item, right? As well as personalized marketing. Technically, we have already been on the influence of it. Like if we go to, let's say, TVNet or YouTube, they will show us ads, right, based on our kind of like searches and where we're going and things like that. But Amazon also has created their own, especially for the Amazon site. Right, the model takes the user's kind of like browsing history, what they put in the cart, what they visit, what they wish list, things like that, and create their own kind of like personalized marketing model, which then recommends products and offers for the user. We have also made kind of like an in-house study ourselves. So at one point we realized we have so many documents, right, about our company, just like this document is for the travel. This document is for what to do in a fire, right? This document is for vacations, things like that. So we need to kind of get our own, I would say, tool for it. So we had made like the internal project-based chat, like we call it Llama internally. So with this, we can create two types of projects. First one is a chat type, right? Where we can upload documents for certain specific users, right? So certain specific colleagues can get access to this chat, and which looks technically like this. This is our kind of like basic chat for all of our documents which we have in TestDevLab, right? I asked, hey, what's our Riga's office address? And it answered the address of Riga's office in Vingota Street 1, right? That's like the one type of project we can have. Another type is we can upload our own fine-tuned models to it. We created a fine-tuned model of image video quality, kind of like assessment, right, model. We trained it on our data. We took thousands of images and had them graded, right? We gave the model on how to actually grade, what counts as what, which grades that. And in the end, we have a report kind of like this. We have the image description of the given image. Then we have the quality score, which is based on our kind of like score sheet which we give, which is what. And then we have a quality assessment. In the quality assessment, it says the image is well composed with a clear and engaging subject, but minor improvements could be made in terms of lighting or background details, things like that. So it can give us adjustments. So the benefits of kind of like using AI, well, firstly, it would be increased efficiency and productivity, right? So they are fast. They can go through a lot of data, even like, as I mentioned, the sheets example, right? 100 Excel sheets, right? We will take hours or days to go through them, but it can go in, let's say, minutes, right? Depends on how big or how strong your hardware is, right? And also, yeah, pinpoint things in if they're necessary. And with productivity, that also efficiency and product kind of go hand in hand together, right? For being efficient and more productive with doing more kind of more of the process, right? Next thing would be enhanced decision making. With this, I have to say AI is more knowledgeable than me. It has a lot of data. Let's take ChatGPT again as an example. It has, if I do believe, all the data until 2022 for the 3.5 model. So all the data it can have, you can access, you can view it manually, like through Wikipedia, things like that, but already it has been trained on the data. So it's more knowledgeable practically about everything. And in so it can sometimes make better decisions than you, right? Because it can be more knowledgeable in that certain topic or that certain decision you have to make. And also, we can have the benefit of cost reduction, right? Making it go through a model or an AI makes it to not have human error if it's been trained correctly, right? It will go through, do the task, and pinpoint out the results. Like with, let's say the sheets example again, right? It will go through it. If it's something needs pinpointed, it will pinpoint it, and that's it, right? If a human goes through it, you can miss something. You can maybe not pinpoint things which should be pinpointed, right? So it kind of reduces the errors. So we have also some challenges and considerations. One would be kind of the data privacy on that. There's like kind of like two ways to actually train it. Either you do it in-house, so in your company you train your own model, but that costs a lot. And I do mean a lot to get the necessary hardware to train them efficiently. You can train them, but it will take a long time to actually train them. And if you do need to retrain the model, that's just more time and more time wasted in a way. Another one would be to actually use a company, I wouldn't say a specific, like, for example, OpenAI has their own fine-tuning models. I do believe Amazon also has given those services that you can train on those servers. Of course, there will be a cost, right? But the model will get trained faster, right? With the downcast of cost. And also, it might seem that handing over like sensitive information you want to train on for OpenAI or Amazon, right? It might seem kind of like iffy, you know, to just give your information out. But that's why you have to kind of give it, or well, trust them, I would say, to companies that have, I wouldn't say proved, like have shown that they can do this, firstly, and that they are secure, right? With OpenAI, as an example, right? If you give your data, let's say a document, right, with sensitive information straight to the chat, right? You just copy paste your sensitive information in the chat box. That data will be used for training the model, so it will be technically accessible to everyone. But if you use their like APIs, so if through the playgrounds to fine-tune the models, they will not use that data for their own training. So that's kind of like you have to kind of separate and do research on the actual, you know, how to do the process for it. And another one would be the ethical implications or bias in the AI algorithms. With this, I mean that you have to train the model kind of similarly. Let's say you have two data points, right? Those amount of data have to be semi-similar, right? If we have more of data 1 and less of data 2, right, it will be more biased to lean for data 1, right? It will give more answers to that. Let's say we have 100 data items. We will use 20 data items for validation later on, right? Let's say we train 20 of those items to recognize a cat on an image, and what was the left? 60? No, wait. Yeah, 60 items 60. Yeah, 60 items to train to view a dog, right? If I give it a cat image, it will be more biased to the way to give me back the dog response. So we kind of have to, I wouldn't say merge, like put them equally. So, and you may know, if you were at the start of kind of like this AI revolution, ChatGPT, when it first came out, it was really biased for one political kind of like side, right? It didn't take the other political views, or well, technically it shouldn't, right? It was more biased for that one political side because it had more data on it. So people were getting responses which kind of like weren't true in a way, or more favored the other side without being actually kind of like true. So yeah, in conclusion, there's kind of like a lot of core functions which can be used for like the modern backbone, as I said, the assistance, right? The data analysis, like to go through a lot of items, right? Natural language processing, which we have made in-house, which allows us to quickly search through documents, right? Get, let's say, what do I do in case of a fire, right? What is our CEO's phone number in case if I need an emergency, right? And not only that, as well as we saw in the healthcare section, right? The actual doctors are using like tools to help them identify kind of like this spot may be, you know, a growth, right? Check this out. Like it kind of like helps them work more efficiently. So, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks again. Do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was, yes.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for the presentation. What model do you use for your Llama tool?
Currently, we're using GPT-4o. It's technically we have known that the kind of like generation is best for it. We did try before with GPT-3.5 Turbo and other different models, but like GPT-4o is firstly cost efficient, like pretty decently. It's like $0.0002 per 1,000 tokens, so it gets the job done. And the answers are more kind of like favorable for a work environment since they don't get too creative, right? We have tried to turn down like the creativeness temperature, right? But GPT-4o is better.
What's the number of these company-specific documents that you mentioned you have fed into it?
At the top of my head, I don't know.
Have you experienced any mistakes in the response?
No. Since we switched over from GPT-3.5 to GPT-4o, I haven't noticed any like problems with it. No incorrect answers. We even do kind of like these validation test runs where a certain engineer, he has like a spreadsheet of questions, right, which he will manually go over and check the answers, right, to see if it's answered correctly. Like, so we will still need people who validate it. So, and I would say like developers will still have a job 10, 15 years in the future. That's
You have some testers in-house as well.
Of course. We call it TestDevLab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, Rick.
I think
Front.
Thank you, Pēteris. A question from an AI skepticist who's using AI on a daily basis. Okay, so you have such an audacious name of your presentations. You're referring to the usage in the enterprises. Okay, and I was listening to your presentation very carefully, and you mentioned a bunch of use cases which, if to follow, are usually supplementary to the main operations for the business. Right? It's more about like just you know, adding some additional layer of the value. So just, okay, you need the fraud prevention software if you have a lot of operations. If your product is already, you know,
running right,
running very well.
Like
yes,
as I said.
exactly. And then my question is there any chance for AI someday to do and to bring this value instead of real business? Not being just a supplementary function for just like, you know, minimizing risk or going through like thousands of spreadsheets, but actually to bring value to the end customer, not just buying existing.
You mean basically AI taking over the company and running it?
Maybe invent a new business model.
I mean,
Maybe...
I wouldn't say so. I would say it's like a tool to make us, or we'll create it like more efficient, to work better.
Okay.
So
it's more about the operation in your...
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
Efficiency rather than this willingness to pay or value brought by the company. Okay, thank you.
Do we have any questions? Yes, we have one more.
curious if you could share whether in your product development process you use AI.
As I mentioned in the start, I do use it, mostly for debugging purposes, right? Because I do not want to go through it, check everything. I mostly take the what's wrong with it, the error part of it, and I put it there, and it gives me kind of like solutions, which I could check on, right? So, but still, here and there, I may use, hey, could you help me out with this task, right? It kind of like improves. I wouldn't say. Well, it makes me more efficient, right? It improves me to write it faster, because by the end of the day, either I look through Stack Overflow, finding the same code, or I ask, let's say, ChatGPT for the same code, right? One makes me look longer, one gives me a straight kind of like an answer for a specific thing.
All right.
Do you use like for code writing also?
I mean, sometimes, as I said,
Also
sometimes.
have a loud voice.
Loud voice. I mean, I do, as I said, sometimes, yeah, either, as I said, as an example, either I have to go through Stack Overflow to get a certain code.
That's like
Oh, you mean like
general
fully?
thinking. Yeah. Like do you give ChatGPT?
I mean,
to write
I
part
don't
of the
really.
code?
I don't really just like for it to fully write code. I don't, but like
Some parts.
some parts, yes, here and there, yeah. But
Do you
still,
find that ChatGPT is doing it more optimal or than you can do it? Does it
would
better than you?
it
Are you
still
better
needs,
than ChatGPT?
Oh God, no, as it's more knowledge, but it still needs kind of like human intervention to actually take the code generated and put it inside my program and actually make it work, right? It's not like, hey, copy, paste it in and it'll work. I need to still do my own kind of like changes to it, right, to actually make it work. No, sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just for example, that when I was young and I was doing programming too, so we were comparing the code length of you know C++. There is such language still alive.
It is.
C++
But
and I don't know, for example, Pascal, for example. So we were comparing how big code is generated. So do you see your code is shorter and more optimal than ChatGPT do?
I would say sometimes I go even longer than ChatGPT because technically it's trained to be like on a lot of data. Like it kind of already knows what's optimal, right? It most likely has all of Stack Overflow in it, right? And all of the comments included. So it kind of like already has, I would guess, classified in a way, which is more optimal, which is not more optimal. And it also kind of depends on the question, how you ask it and how you formulate it, because you can ask question like multiple kind of ways, right? And it'll give you either a longer code or a smaller code, but it's the end results are still the same.
Okay, let's have one more question here.
Yeah.
Do you have any examples of any interesting and valuable examples of data analysis with AI? Because all the examples which I have met before, normal analytic can see everything in the stage of preparing of data.
So you mean like, for example, if I have a data analysis, kind of like an analysis on something and like it shows you, or do I not understand correctly?
I mean analysis of big data and something interesting conclusions from data using AI.
I mean, personally, I do not think, or I could give you an example. You can give one.
Actually, speaking of AI, me myself, I'm marketing guy here. But speaking of AI, so how we are using it. So when it comes to big data, especially for marketing. How I mean it. So we at TestDevLab, we are tracking lots of different data points, starting from the internal links clicked to from where the person came, where he went, like what was the journey throughout the website, till the fact that we are tracking and trying to figure out was this his first session, or maybe his colleague gave the data that, hey, there is such a company as TestDevLab, you should check them out and contact them. Like, we're trying to understand that. And we are collecting like thousands and thousands of data points. And with the help of AI, we are trying to understand, and actually there is already some success. We're trying to understand like the detailed path where this user first, like what was this first, how to call it, first impression, like where was this origin of this first impression, and what was the path till the person converted and came through the mailbox as a lead. And we're trying to grasp that. But the problem is it's really complicated process, especially when it comes to cookies. Like if the person is not like, the person is not allowing cookies, the problem begins. Yes and no. So when it comes to GDPR and cookies, you can't track user unless he approves, or she, or whatever user approves cookies. You can track a few things like the click itself. You can register amount of clicks, but you can't get specific data like IP address, click IDs, the path, like all sorts of data. In order to track that, you have to like get this approval from the user that the user applies, like the user agrees to cookies. Like it's a bit tricky, but again, when it comes, I would say it's a big data. Like we have thousands and thousands of data points, and we are just looking at those points and data and trying to figure out, okay, what next? And AI helps.
That's an answer. As we are product meetup, the most important question, are you selling any of this stuff to your clients? Do you have any trained models, or you build something inside that you sell to the clients?
Yes, since you're the director of R&D, you know better than me.
Well, in terms of products, well, first of all, hi, I'm Alvaro, Director of Automation and Research and Development. And in terms of products, we are trying to release the tool that Pēteris has mentioned previously, which is Lalama. We want to make this public for other people to also share projects, being able to interact with each other, and also create these assistants that help companies to retrieve most of the information that is useful for the employees, not only the stakeholders. And also, since we work a lot with audio-video companies and media companies, having these tools for computer vision, also natural language processing, help them to understand what is the quality and how can they deliver better products. So that will be also released into the product. And yeah, we are really working on that. He's also involved in another initiative, which is Automate the Automation, which means that we are aiming to create full automation workflows with AI, meaning that we will write a prompt, please go to this web page and validate these fields, and it will write all the code behind and validate that automatically. So all of that is powered by these large language models, and just the thing is that we need to fine-tune the models in order to understand better what we want to do, and later on just package into a nice product. So yeah.
Great. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks for all the guys from TestDevLab for answering all the questions. You can grab Pēteris or any of the guys, I assume, on our break time. So I have a small present for you, Pēteris. to make your nights in Riga less depressing. Yes. So thanks again. Yep. All right. Please follow us on social media like Facebook, LinkedIn, and stuff. We try to do it every second month. So yeah, approximately this is the timeline when you're gonna see us again, hopefully. Yes, and if you have a feedback, you disliked something or you liked something or you want to replace something, please let us know. We will try to make it better. And that's it. Thanks everyone. We will have a chatting happening here, so don't run out. Please speak to people. This is what it's about. It's not about just clapping and cheering for people. It's about community. So thanks everyone. Let's clap to each other. You're great. Thanks.